So apparently you're supposed to make a letterhead, business card, maybe a number 10 envelope, maybe a reply envelope, all kinds of different things that might go into a stationery package. So let me show you using InDesign and Illustrator how you might go about doing that. By the way, stationery with an A means it doesn't move. We want stationery with an E, station E-R-Y. I'm sharing my screen. We're going to our friend InDesign, and I want a new document. I'm going to go into the print menu because we're making something that will be printed. It's letter size. I would rather work in inches, but you could work in Ciceros or agates or pixels if you'd like. I don't need facing pages. We're just going to have one page here. I would encourage you when you design something to think about the shape of your content separately from the shape of your page. 8.511 is a standard size for letterhead. You're stuck with that pretty much. You could fool around with it maybe if you wanted to, but for the most part, you're probably going to be 8.511. But that doesn't mean that you just have to go ½ inch in all the way around like my margins are set. Here, the default setting. I'm going to change those because I want to play with that shape on the page. So maybe I'll make the left margin 2 inches wide, and maybe I'll give myself a little extra room on the bottom. I do want to have a bleed. I'm going to leave those linked because I want 1/8 of an inch all the way around. I don't need a slug. I think we talked about what a slug is. I'm going to create that file. So there's the settings for my letterhead right now. What I'm going to do, I'm kind of happy with how that looks. It's going to work well, I think. What I'm going to do is create a text or a picture frame box. I'm going to bring in a picture frame box right here and bring that out to the bleed edges and set that up like that. And then I'm going to import that, Command D, import my final logo. So there's my logo there. It says, boom, you must want that gigantic. Shift Option Command E will shrink that down so that the whole thing will fit. It's under Object Fitting, right? There we go. Fill frame proportionally, fill content proportionally. So you can fool around with how that's going to work. You might want to still get it larger or smaller, but that gives you at least a start. I'm going to probably play with that size a little bit. By the way, I want to just mention a couple of things. I brought this file in from Illustrator. It looks like it's weird, right? It looks like it's a long horizontal box for something that you would think would go inside of a square. That's because I've got something else right there. I'll show you what I did. I'm going to Illustrator and show you what I did. What I did in Illustrator is, here's my logo. I've got two versions of my logo, one positive and one filled with white. So I've got the negative version of my logo. If I want to put it on a colored field, dark background, something that needs to pop off of, I've got the reverse version of my logo already in my file. So when I place this in InDesign, I can just move it back and forth inside the text box to get either the positive or the negative version of my logo. Pretty handy to have that easily available inside your text box. Another thing that I've done is that this color that I brought in is, there's my defined color right there. It's this swatch right here. I've named it TB logo color. Remember the named colors that we used on your self-portrait in Illustrator from 100 years ago. So I've got that, and I've built it as a spot color, not a process color. Process means it's going to mix that color up out of CMYK. Spot means it's blue ink. Just put blue ink on the press, or purple, or orange, or whatever color it is, and use that color of ink. So it's not mixed up out of 4 colors. It's just a one color of ink. It's a spot color. So what that means is that when I go back into InDesign and say, I'd kind of like to fill my sidebar with that same color, I go up to my menu to say fill, and look at this at the very bottom of that. My TB logo color has been imported because I brought that file in from Illustrator. It says you must want the colors that you brought in with that file, and funny thing, I do. And there you can see now, that's where you can see where my logo is, how I built that. So there's that negative version of the logo, the reverse version, already tucked in there. I'm going to create a little text box right here. You can, of course, just click with the text tool, but if you click and drag, you create a particular size text box and then paste in my stuff. I've already set this stuff up earlier, so I'm using my personal brand style is Franklin Gothic, is the typeface that I like to use. So I've got the heavyweight version of it in 12 point for my name, and then to create that type hierarchy that we talked about, I'm using book weight 9 point type on automatic letting. So I'm kind of happy with how that goes. And then what I want to do is put in a text box here that I can use for the body of my letter. Now, normally you would put in the address block of the person to whom you're writing, and then a salutation, dear Penelope or Brian or whoever. But I'm just going to put in some type there because I want something that I can use. Type, fill with placeholder text, gazoink, and then I can grab all that stuff. And I probably should set up style sheets so that I can use my styles that I've established in my personal branding to set my type for the letter that I want to use in here. And then I can fool around. I can put in a signature in here and things like that. You know how to do that. The last thing I want to show you, this is kind of a cool thing, is that now that I've got this built, I want to make a business card that uses most of the same exact information that's already on here. So I'm just going to come up here to there's my page, come up to the hamburger menu at the top of your pages menu and say I want to create an alternate layout. And the alternate layout that I want to use is a business card, US business card size. I'm going to leave it horizontal rather than vertical. And I'm going to just hit OK. And there is my business card. Look at that. All the same stuff comes along, but now I can say, well, I don't want this. I'm going to throw that away. I'm going to bring all this stuff down. I can resize these pieces and place them on my card and fool around with that until I get kind of a happy card that I think is pretty cool. But it's a great way to say I want to make sure that I've got the same content happening from both letterhead and business card so that I can make sure that those things match up. So I've got my color, type, all those bits and pieces already built. That's going to work for me. I hope that helps. I found that to be a useful exercise. I hope it is for you. Anyway, keep me posted. Let me know if you've got other things that you're stuck on or that you want help with, and you know where I am. You can track me down. See you later, friends.